Well, hey, good morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning in today. I've got the amazing Mike Nelson and the ever awesome David Wilt with me here. Today, we're going to be talking about how to build a team, how we kind of take some of our military background and built a team, what the steps are to build a team, and so much goes into it. We're really excited to get with you guys and bust it out today, help some folks learn a little bit. So we'll start with Mike. Mike, you want to give us a background, some just a little tidbit about you? We all know you're a rock star, but besides being a rock star during the day, what else? What else do you do?
I don't know about that. If I'm a rock star, I'm back from the Beatles days or something like that. Yeah, no, 20 years in the Air National Guard. So retired after 20 years of service there, and been quite a few places in the Middle East. Always exciting times. And real quickly on the real estate side, built a team or got into real estate 9 or 10 years ago after being 19 years at IBM and the military and all that fun stuff. Built a team and doing a couple of hundred units across the state of Colorado. So good to go.
Love it. David, give us a little background about you two. You're also a rock star, Dave. It's funny, just for those who don't know, I'm Army, and both David and Mike are both Air Force. So I'm a little bit outnumbered here, but that's okay.
For once, usually it's the other way around, right?
Yeah, right. So give us some background, Dave.
Sure, man. So almost 20 years, United States Air Force. I'll hit 20 years next month. Retiring out here in the next 6 months or so. And then going from that perspective to real estate with my wife, right? And so we've built up a team together here in Southern California. We actually have expansion teams in Florida and Missouri started up, but did 49 transactions last year, $40 million worth of volume. Tasha's couple-time icon, eXp certified mentor, et cetera. And then we focus a lot on helping our military clients build wealth through real estate. So that's one of our main niche areas.
Love it. Two lifers over here. I swear. I'm just like a lowly like buck sergeant myself. I'm just like, oh yeah, I know 20 years. Okay.
Yeah. You were smarter to move on to the next one maybe than us.
That's right. One deployment and out. That's what I say.
Right.
I don't know how we're doing.
Right.
But.
You don't have the gray beard like I do.
Yeah.
So you're good.
The lobster must be good in the Air Force. I don't know.
Right. The Air Force is definitely a different quality of bases, right? We always get that crap from all the other services. So, when I go to the Air Force base, y'all got a bowling alley and a golf course, and what's this junk? Right?
Yeah.
We got tents. So yeah, it's a little different.
Y'all got named parking spots out there, even for like the lower enlisted. I don't get it.
Hey, Mongolian beef night in Mosul, Iraq, not a bad thing.
Yeah. Oh man, well, just real quick, a little background on me. I did 6 years in the Army as a medic, deployed to Afghanistan in 2010. I did not do 20 years like these two gentlemen on stage with me, but got into real estate about a year and some change ago after working in the VA for quite some time. Just kind of got burned out during COVID and decided, hey, I'm going to do real estate. So I'm in my second year. I have not closed as many transactions as these two gentlemen, but I have done quite a bit. I now have a team of 7 under me, my own office that I share with my 2 mentors, and apparently a new room. We got this new podcast room, thanks to my mentors. Their daughter painted it, so I am not a painter, by the way. Don't ask me to help you with that. But yeah, so that's us. We're going to talk about today a little bit of how to build a team and what you both did. I mean, I know both of you have different versions of what it looks like. Same with me. It's probably different than both of y'all. But I think the important thing to know is, how do we build a team? Why should we build a team? And what are the pitfalls, right? Like it can be difficult managing people. Real estate itself is difficult, right? You got to deal with clients and all the stuff that goes into that. On top of all that, now you're managing people and their issues and their clients' issues and all of the fun that comes with that. So first we'll talk about, let's say you are at a point where your real estate career is taking off and you are just overly busy. I mean, to the point where you're coming home, 9, 10 o'clock at night, you're seeing more clients and you see family, it's just getting a bit ridiculous. Mike, we'll go to you first. What should I do now that I have all this business and not enough time in the day to deal with it? What should I do? Should I hire somebody, or Do I need help? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in looking at it from the perspective of teams are all look different, as you alluded to. And, it could be a single agent with a transaction coordinator, a single agent with an executive admin. Like that's a team to me, right? It may be a small section of a team, but it's a team or a husband wife team, you name it, right? Or it could be as big as what David and I have, 20 plus, and others that are in the hundreds, right? So for me, I always looked at it from, where was my service breaking down because I had too much on my plate? What was I not giving the right focus to the right clients, right? And where was I breaking down? The only way to really break through that achievement ceiling and give the best customer service, I'm a big believer in leverage, right? And so you have to identify what is that leverage piece you're missing. Typically, what I would suggest that first hire is an executive admin. And I'm a big Gary Keller old school guy, thought of that expansion system orientation model, and that executive admin was the model that we followed. I think it's really easy, and we can talk later about finding other agents, but it's always, what's the value proposition? Put two agents together, I'm not sure what the value proposition is other than who can do the most deals. So really the backbone is your administrative team. So I would start there.
Love it. What about you, Dave? What do you think would be your first person? We've talked about an executive admin, which is, to be honest, a godsend for most of us if we need it. But what do you think? How did you start? What was the first person you hired?
Yeah, so I mean, I would say ours was a little bit different, right? And I think, like you alluded to, there's different paths for everyone, right? There's a million ways you can create a team. There are proven, tried and true ways, obviously, but there's no one right or wrong in my mind, right? It's figuring out the model that works for you and then building that model. So for us, we sort of started a team inherently once I got my license, right? So it was myself and my wife. So that gave us two agents right off the bat. Now, that being said, I mean, we worked together a lot. And so we were really coming as a package deal, right? There wasn't a ton of leverage there. We were both working all the files together, that type of thing. Adding on a transaction coordinator for us was our first step. So I know a lot say executive admin, and I think, your exec admin could be a transaction coordinator that does other stuff for you. But the way that we started out initially, at least, was we had a TC on file that only got paid for each file that they did. They're not on salary, and we still don't have a salaried TC. We still have it file based. But for us, the path that we went down, and we can talk about that some later as far as how it evolved and stuff. But for us, it was other agents was the first step beyond the TC. Because what we found, especially in Southern California, right, it's sort of a different animal for us, at least. I mean, we broadened out our service area because we realized that, in the niche that we're in, there's not a ton of people here in Southern California that deal with VA loans, right, or understand the military and can properly take care of the military. And so we went from this mindset of, oh, I can only stay within like 10 miles of my house in South Bay, right, because traffic's so horrible here, to we need to cover a bigger area to properly serve our clients. We're letting them down if we don't. Right, we're letting them go with an agent that happens to be in the area but doesn't know anything about military life or VA loans, and therefore they're not going to be successful. And so once we started doing that, you start running into geographic limitations. And for us, because of personal life events that happened, Tasha was in a car wreck. We went through a showing agent model and then a buyer's, which didn't work well for us. We started it, and then just they don't have the same core values, right, if they're not on your team. And so we transitioned that to buyer's agents that are actually on our team. And, to Mike's point, the value prop, for us, our team has been constructed a little different. Most of our agents coming in have been newer agents. So our value proposition for them, and a lot of them are military, either active, veteran, or significant other for our team. And our value prop has been systems, processes, and clients to help get them off the ground, right? And so it's not, we're taking ourselves at that point, and over the last 8 months, as we've been building this to where it's at, we're taking ourselves out of production to where we're running the team, and the clients that come through that work with us get our team members to do all the in-person work, right? So our team members are helping them while we guide everything along the way. And so to Mike's point, that just gives you leverage, right? No matter how it is, when you build a team, you're seeking leverage. You can't do this all on your own. You only have so many hours in the day. So you become the bottleneck for your clients. And for most of us running a team, that's not the service quality that we want to give. And so you have to find other ways to leverage out the things that don't require you. One of our mentors, had a great line to us: stop thinking you're special, right? We're like, we have to be there for the showings. We have to write the offer. We have to this. No, you don't. You have to teach other people how to do it to your standards and hold them accountable, right? We're not the best people at opening doors, right?
Yeah.
Quite frankly, anyone can do that, right? But as far as like taking care of the client and stuff, and once you start creating that army of agents with you with that shared mission, you can definitely take care of your clients at a much higher level.
Yeah, and I appreciate what David said there is the distinguishing factor is they're niching with agents in the military community, right? And that's a very niche market.
Yeah.
My statement was probably more reference towards the general population agents that are just kind of throwing like two struggling agents together as my example. So I didn't mean that. I wasn't intentionally throwing David's model under the bus, to be clear.
No,
So
no, absolutely not.
Right under the bus. It's going
But the great thing is, right, like you have a model that's worked great. We have a model that, again, there's a bunch of different models, and it's what works for you and what you can. It's not even what works, it's what you can successfully implement and make work.
yeah,
Right? Because what works for you might not work for us, right?
Yeah,
What works
absolutely.
in millionaire real estate agent and all the other stuff, building out teams and all that may not work personally for us, either in our area or due to personal circumstances or whatever. So it's figuring out what those are and then finding people that have done it before and modeling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think for us, it was mostly around, just kind of backtrack just for a minute. It was, I'm not good at admin. I can do it. It doesn't make me happy. That's not my disc profile. My wife enjoyed that. It was free labor, right? So she was able to join.
never free, Mike.
No, I know.
Never free.
So she became the executive admin. But then once the hours at night where you were working 8 to 5 at the office and then 5 to midnight, then once that stress started putting family on, that's when we was like, okay, we got to go outside, right, and bring in our next executive admin or TC, right, kind of scenario. So kind of why we grew and how we grew, that was kind of why it was just based on needs of the family. We were working too many hours together. And so we needed to go ahead and spend the money, right, and hire that executive admin.
Yeah, same. So that's kind of how it happened with me. My first year, I was fortunate enough that my mentors kind of gave me all the secrets, right? I just don't think they expected that I was going to take all those secrets and run with it. So, I did 44 my first year, and I got to a point where I was not able to keep up. And that kind of sounds a little funny, but for me, 44 in a very rural area like I am is a lot of business. And so, my first person was actually another agent. I brought somebody in that I knew, brand new license, but I needed help showing houses. I needed help, doing the daily, runaround. I didn't bring a TC in until we were experiencing so much business that I was like, oh man, I can't put these in all myself. And like you said, Mike, I hate the admin side of it. That is not my forte. I like the people side of it. So I needed somebody to help me with that. And then that's when we brought in a TC. So like I said, everybody does it different. I think the biggest thing is knowing when to grow. And let's talk about it a little bit. When you're an agent and you have so much business, should you start growing or should you try and figure out systems on the backside to reduce your workload? So what do you think, Mike? When do you know to grow?
I think for me is back to kind of when your systems are starting to break. If you're not growing unless your systems are breaking, right? I think we all go through that. And so when you're a single agent doing 6 deals a year, you're going to break your systems when you go to 30 to 35 deals the next year, right? And those are the pain points that you discover as, okay, what do I need to do? That was a critical hire for us, and why we did it the way we did it is we needed somebody to document those systems for us. Most of the time as real estate agents, we're so hard grinding that we're just trying to get that sale. We're trying to get that deal. We're trying to get started, and we don't document a whole lot, right? We're just doing it and learning and failing forward. So for me, it was to get that executive admin in, just because of the technical orders in the military and my IBM days, I was pretty good at knowing the importance of processes. And so nobody wants to accidentally set a nuclear bomb off because they weren't following a system or a process, right? So that was what we brought them in. So Tracy helped us on some of the transaction coordination stuff. Brooke, who's our longest tenure employee, helped us document all the processes. It was get in the car with Mike and you're going to hang with him. Luckily for her, not so much, 12 hours a day. And you're going to ride with him and just document everything we do. And that was the leverage piece for me, right? It's a true story. True story.
What about you, Dave? What do you think? I mean, I think Mike pointed to a good point. I think that's probably what I experienced. My systems were not keeping up with what I was doing, and they were not